Coming up, the Titans got punked on their home field by a division rival that they hate. We're going to talk about what it means for the franchise going forward, try and make sense of what we saw on the field at Nissan Stadium, and maybe have a conversation about the direction of this franchise, which I'm not sure that there is one right now. All that and more coming up on this next edition of Becky Sports, and to quote a famous TV dad, let's just get through this. So the Titans laid an egg the size of a California condor. 25-3 loss to the Jacksonville Jaguars at Nissan Stadium on Sunday. Bad football. That's all there is to say about it. It was bad football. It was a totally inept performance from top to bottom. Multiple fights break out, and the progress that they had made the last couple of weeks was all just undone in an instant. They had a promising opening drive, 4 first downs, drove 70 yards, and kicked the field goal to start, and that was it for the offensive production, really. They only recorded 7 first downs the rest of the way, 188 total yards. It was an inept performance from top to bottom. Multiple fights broke out. Some couple players got ejected. It was just bad football. And it's really difficult to put into words how disappointing it is, obviously being in attendance, watching the game, and knowing that as soon as Jacksonville takes the lead, that's it. You don't feel confident that they're going to even survive that. They're going to overcome it. It looked like some of the football that we had seen from this team earlier in this season. And I think that's the part that's most disappointing, because when you go through the last 3 weeks with the Chargers before the bye, against the Texans, and then against the Seahawks last Sunday, you saw a team that was competitive. You saw a team that was fighting, and you saw a team that was progressing. All that unraveled in an instant. They took 3 steps back, and they looked like a team that, once again, is a rudderless ship. And technically they kind of are with the interim head coach. We know that this is a lame duck coaching staff. We know that there's going to be a new coach and a whole new staff going forward. Although I would add the caveat that you need to keep John Bones Fossil, because that unit continues to play at a high level. It's a slog, man. It's a slog to get through the rest of this season. You know you're not going anywhere. And you know that it's not gonna end well. So you just have to survive the rest of the season and then go into the off season and try and map out a plan to correct what ails this team. And honestly, what ails this team is, to me, there's no direction. There's no attitude. There's no identity. There's nothing that you can hang your hat on right now with this football team that gives you any kind of confidence going forward. In recent weeks, you could say Cam Ward, because Cam Ward had begun to progress, but as we know, especially with life in the NFL, progression isn't linear. And today, Cam Ward once again looked like a rookie. He looked like a guy who was struggling to find any open receivers, mainly because a lot of them weren't getting a lot of separation. There's just no options for him to try to make any plays, and any time that there was an opportunity to make a play, nobody was making it. It really is testing the resolve of this young quarterback, and it's testing the resolve of this team, who I think has gotten to the point where losing is what they expect. And we all know that once that habit creeps in, it's hard to break. You have guys like Jeffrey Simmons, who continues to play at a high level, just trying to tell everybody that you've got to find a way to be better, whatever it takes. And I don't think he was leaving the coaching staff out of this. All in all, it's an ugly situation, and the only way that it's going to get better is through an offseason. So the next week the Titans go to Cleveland. Their homestand has ended, and they go and play the Cleveland Browns. And yes, the story's going to be Shedeur Sanders versus Cam Ward. Sanders gets his second career start in a loss to the San Francisco 49ers. So everybody gets the Cam Ward versus Shedeur Sanders conversation that they have craved, and all that to say, the edge goes to Cleveland mainly because their defense is really, really good, and they have an absolute avatar in Myles Garrett, who he's one of the best defensive players in the league and maybe one of the best of this generation. We'll have a little bit more on that next week. Before we go, we need to have a conversation about what it means to be strategically aggressive and how Mike McCoy at every turn since he has been given the interim head coach tag, has failed to do so on his own. And I'm going to take you back to the opening drive of the game on Sunday. 4th and 3 from inside the 20-yard line. Instead of going for it and trying to get the first down and trying to keep the drive alive, he opted for the field goal. Now, in the moment, I didn't have much to complain about the decision. You had had a successful opening drive. You had been able to move the ball down the field, and you got points out of it. So in the moment, I told myself, okay, it's a good start. But in hindsight, you would have liked to see him at least attempt to go for it on 4th down. It's 3 yards. See if you can pick it up. But that speaks to the mindset that Mike McCoy has as the interim head coach, and how it's been the exact opposite of what this team needs. You know you're not going anywhere this season. You know that you've got 5 games to play out. You would like to see him put the onus on the players to make those opportunities happen and give them the chance to do so. That hasn't happened. It speaks to a deeper philosophical conversation that we're going to have in the future about what the next coach of the Titans needs to have. What type of mindset he has to have. Ultimately, I fall on the more aggressive identity. Somebody who is able to help open up those opportunities for the guys on the football team. We'll have that conversation and many more in the next episode of Eki Sports.